Hi, and welcome to Review Dudes, the dudes who review everything. With me, as always, is my co-host.
Mitchell Forsyth.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Dave Salone. Let's just get into it. So the first thing we're going to do, our first ever segment of the podcast, is the entertainment review, and we're going to be talking about the amazing new Top Gear-esque show called The Grand Tour. The Grand Tour is hosted by Top Gear legends Richard Hammond, James May, and Jeremy Clarkson, who left their last show, except Jeremy Clarkson was technically stopped his contract with them, to make their own show after certain circumstances conspired. It doesn't really matter. We're here to talk about their new show, The Grand Tour. Mitch, what's your first thoughts about it?
Oh, the Grand Tour. Where do I start? Well, it starts off very much like Top Gear, as in, well, he's at the BBC, Jeremy Clarkson, and he's leaving to radio, telling him that he's been fired. He's been let go. It says he's no longer with them because they chose not to renew his contract. And it's a very, very powerful opening scene that made me even more excited to hear more about or watch further into this show.
It was a really good scene. It showed him going to America, driving on the road by himself, and his two co-hosts, who are like real good friends with him, are driving beside him. Like they're like, "Oh, we're sticking with you," kind of thing. Like a kind of a shout out to what they actually did. They just left the show because they didn't renew his contract. And yeah, so it was a really good opening sequence. It was really good. Just it got you really excited for the show, and the show itself, like beginning to end, was amazing. The production value of the whole show is just amazing.
I couldn't agree more. It just looked great. Everything looked great. Every scene was very crisp. Everything was well edited. They had filters over everything though, but fortunately, they look good.
They did. They had a couple jokes to America because that's where they first were hosting the show, and they kind of made fun of them a little bit, but the crowd was into it because they do it kind of live, and yeah, it was just all around good. I quickly want to talk about the Top Gear show that they left failing because like it's just without them the show was just bad. They got like what 5 extra new hosts or something.
That's true, but one of them was Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with Matt LeBlanc.
That's true. You can't go wrong with Joey. He was the only good thing about that show, but I'm pretty sure they're going to stop making it because it's just...
the ratings are trash.
Yeah, it's so bad.
It's just gone so far downhill. What was the fact? Something along the lines of Top Gear on its last episode had somewhere around 1 million concurrent viewers at one point, or just over like, or maybe even a few million. I forget exactly. But the new one on its opening day had much, much less, like a fraction.
And even that, it was people coming in who wanted to see if it would be as bad as they thought it would be. But anyway, so let's give our final scores. Out of 10, what do you rate the Grand Tour?
I would rate it a solid 10 out of 10, only because the old Top Gear I would have given a 9 out of 10 due to the really annoying star in a reasonably priced car. I couldn't deal with that. The star in a reasonably priced car was always the most lame part of the show, and they replaced that by instead killing celebrities, and I really like that.
Yeah, that is a really good part. I would agree with you with the score, 10 out of 10, and just because, like you said, it's just a better version of their old show, and they just basically got to tweak it in the way they want because it's their show now. Yeah, it's just all around better than the old one, and the old one was already amazing. So it's like the best of both worlds.
Very true.
It's now time for Cynics to shine. It's Game Dump with Zeus.
Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Game Dump with me, your host, Zeus. Well, co-host anyways. We today will be dumping on the game No Man's Sky. And I know it's currently everybody's favorite game to hate, but for good reason. Oh, where do I even start? No Man's Sky. The broken promises, broken game, the broken everything. When you play it for the first 5 minutes, you're going to have a really, really great time. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to see a whole new world. You're going to see a whole lot of great stuff, but then you realize all this great stuff is the exact same everywhere you go. No matter where or what you do, you'll end up doing the same thing eventually, probably in about 10 minutes. You upgrade your plane, you break a couple rocks, you find a few new, I don't know, monsters and name them, and that's about it. You thought when you were going to buy the game that the people who made it were going to follow through on their promises of multiplayer, seeing other people, and, well, endless things to do. But unfortunately, they fell flat on an awful lot of their promises. There's no multiplayer, like they said there was, but there are chances for you to see other names of other planets. However, they're overwritten immediately when somebody else finds it, which at the beginning of the game seemed to be all the time. Their billions and billions of worlds are just, well, the same world hashed over and over. Fortunately, though, there are a lot of games that make up for it, but nothing will ever repair the hole in the heart that No Man's Sky has left because of all the hype that Sony had built. So for now, all we have to do is, well, not buy the game and tell anybody who's thinking of buying it not to either. Big disappointment. And I had very high hopes for this game. But still, if you're looking for an initial shine, a shine that'll last you about 10 minutes before you're completely bored, I guess if to you it's worth $69.99 USD, you should totally buy it.
And now it's time for Will It Hold Up with, well, me. Well, it's almost December, so that means it's almost Christmas. So that means Christmas movies. Today I'm going to be looking back at the classic holiday movie, Home Alone. If you've been living under a rock for the past 26 years, Home Alone is a movie about an 8-year-old kid named Kevin McAllister, played by one of the worst aging child stars ever, who gets left behind by his entire family when they go on their Christmas vacation. Stuff happens, a montage here and there, and we get to the movie's exciting conclusion, where Kevin must defend his home from two of the worst burglars in the world. I like to describe this movie as Die Hard for kids. And I know what you're saying. Dave, we know the movie already. We want to know if it holds up. Well, to answer your question, yes, it holds up. This movie is as classic as they come. It's funny, but some of the jokes are dated. It's 26 years old and still feels fresh and new. All in all, it's a great movie for the family to watch over the holiday season. Just make sure it's the first one, not the other 4, because they're just plain bad. So out of the 2 possible outcomes of this rating system, holds up or doesn't hold up, this movie holds up. Thanks for joining us in our first ever podcast. Tune in next week for our riveting review of our first podcast. Blooper of the week! It's now time for Cynics to shine. It's Game Dump with Zeus.
Am I recording?
Yeah.
Damn it, Dave! Okay, do it again.
Okay.
You gotta say ready. I didn't.
Right.
I thought you were practicing.
Okay, are you...
Button click, and I'm like,
Okay. So...
you wrecked me, dude.
Dude, that's gonna go in the bloopers, my dude. All right. All right. 3, 2,